Welcome back to the VR workshop. This week, it's been a long time coming, we do start wiring. I'm just going to go through the bike. I'm going to go all the way around the bike, just showing you what we've managed to get done this week, because it is actually quite a lot. When we left you last week, we had just finished the intercooler and then remembered we had to put the blower valve on. So that's now done. We recut the hole back in again, welded on a flange, and that is now fitted. Still got the original spring that we used on the Ducati. Presume it's going to be okay with this. We don't know. Well, once we get this thing running, we'll find out if we've got the right spring on it. It is now hooked up with a line into the throttle body port that we discussed last week as well. So the intercooler is done. Another mechanical slash fabrication project that we got done this week is our new and final side air ducts. Now we originally made one out of, I can't remember the material, it was just cheap and nasty PLA probably. We made that one because we thought it was going to be cut into the frame, and then we realized it was never going to fit. So we needed a Mark II, which I left in the car in the summer and it all melted. But that was Mark II, which gave us enough confidence to go and make Mark III on both sides. Now, although these were cheap nasty PLA just for prototypes, this is stainless steel. Couldn't resist 3D printing them. The price difference between using a high-end, like carbon infused or hard plastic 3D print versus stainless steel, I think it was like $100. It really wasn't that much different. So with stainless steel, we can drill them, we can bolt them, we can weld these things in if we really wanted to. It gives us a lot more flexibility with stainless. Did have to have a little bit of fettling to get them into place, but they're now fully bolted, very, very, very strong. They're not going to go anywhere. There's going to be a lot of air pressure in these, so stainless seems just to be the easiest solution for it. Now we did, and these were earlier, we got these NACA ducts made to test out stainless steel, and although they're quite thick, we need to cut that off. So we're going to have one here, and we did get extra NACA ducts made. I can't remember the material of this either, but it's quite a hard-wearing plastic. So we're going to be sitting 2 NACA ducts in there. Now that said, I might use the plastic ones off the original bike rather than the heavy stainless steel ones. They just look pretty great, great paperweights. So this is our new body panel. I'm just going to sit there somewhere, and it's going to be right up against the new duct. We'll have 2 NACA ducts in there, trying to get as much airflow into the middle of this bike as possible to cool the radiators. That is the plan. So that's another little project that we've managed to get done this week. And they look fantastic. Another mechanical project that we got done is we've managed to bolt the ECU and the solid state relay systems in place. So they are now finished in the right area. And for there, everything on the main wiring loom starts here and goes forward and back of the bike, because there was a T-piece right in the middle. So this was key to get an understanding of where this needed to be. We've also done all the power lines and the grounding lines for the bike, so we had to do that ourselves. The main loom we got made by a third party, but all the power and everything we made ourselves here. So other than just trimming that and sorting that out, I'll probably put a little clamp on there as well, just to secure it in case it gets pulled from accidentally from somewhere else, because it will be live. So the power lines are done. That's from all the way from the battery to the cutoff switch at the front, which we moved. All the earthing lines are run, so all the power cables are done. Another job done. Another cool job we got done this week was we managed to wire up our Holley EFI coils. Now, I probably went over this when we first got these ages ago. This is the original stick coil that comes with a GSXR. It goes into the cylinder, spark plug goes there, and then you've got the coil pack itself and the cables. Here we're going a bit old school. We've got separate coil packs, smart coil packs, using MSD lines, HT leads, into the spark plug itself, and then we've got the harness around the back of it. They are seriously big. They're going to give us a serious spark, which is going to be a bigger advantage of this to make sure we get the best possible combustion in the cylinder. and with blown applications where you've got an extra pressure in the cylinder, it does give you a massive advantage over standard coil sticks. So yeah, back to school, remembering how to make up HT leads, because it's been several decades since I had to do that, but it was fun, and now they're now in place. And now we're looking at the wiring loom in earnest. We're going to run it. This isn't the way it's going to run. Now that we've passed the cables through, we're probably going to have it popping out this side of the frame. It's just a direct run. This is going to get cut flush. Well, it's going to cut somewhere. Not quite sure where it's going to get cut yet. That was a part of the old frame. It's just not used anymore. I didn't want to cut it right down to start with in case I needed it for securing something else, but we don't need it. It will be cut off. So I think we're going to run the loom for the final build this side. We'll go through the peg mount, which has now got its new master cylinder. We just need to, that's another job, we need to figure that out and put a reservoir on it, but that's a tomorrow job or a later on job. So the cables are going to come through, they now splice out to all the various sensors in the engine. We do have some extra plugs to fit in, like the oil temperature plug, we need to replug it. I've got plugs on the bench there. And the radiator fan, which also needs a plug. We didn't know what plugs these were going to be at the time when we got the loom made, so I'm going to have to plug them up. And that should be everything at this back of the engine complete. Now moving to the middle, we've got our boost controller, which is sitting here. Because we're running a full, I can't remember what it's called. There's a specific name for the system. I will have to look it up. I'll put it in the video when I remember it or look it up. But the boost controller is going to control all the boost on the wastegate. So what the system allows us to do, we can control, for example, if we want 4 psi boost and no more, no less, using this twin solenoid boost controller onto the wastegate, that will manage it all the time, no more, no less than 4 psi. We can then start adjusting that into different RPMs, different gearing. So we could have like first, second, third gear, 4 psi, nothing else. Fourth, fifth, and sixth gear, we could say 4 psi up until 8,000 RPM and then ramp it up to 6, 8, 10, whatever. We can control basically boost map all the way through the rev range and in different gears, which gives us a lot of control for traction. The twice we've been to Bonneville now, we know traction's a massive issue, and when you're running big turbos and boost, it becomes even a bigger issue. So having all the control over a wastegate will help us immensely. But with that, it's not the easiest thing to plumb up. It's obviously, this is wired straight into the loom, we got that done. Some of the piping, we're waiting some fittings to come in so we can finish it. And this also gets its own pressure gauge. So the ECU has its own map sensor in it, so it knows what the plenum pressure will be. But this will also give us a pressure on the opposite side. So it's got full control on both sides. So we're waiting for some fittings to get that done, but electrically it's pretty much there. That's where we are. Oh, and we've got a lambda sensor here as well, but that is also all wired in for the exhaust in there quite a lot, so it's not plugged in yet. But we're getting there. Next project is going to be to plug up some ancillaries at the back here, and we can finish the back. Should have fittings for this next week, hopefully. Some of them are coming from out of country. Then we'll start moving into the front wiring. So we got our start-stop run switch we need to wire. We've got our wrist kill switch we need to wire, and we've got our dash we need to wire. Say dash, it's a power plug for our little, in fact I've got it here, for our little Samsung phone, which is going to be our dashboard. And it's a 12 volt to 5 volt converter, which we need to wire into that as well. So that is a future project. Don't know if that'll even happen this week. But the plan is, we will hopefully manage this week to turn a key, or give it power, so to speak. And hopefully we'll get a laptop onto the ECU so we can start getting some readings. We won't be able to start it because all the plumbing fittings are not here. So I reckon another week of just fettling it and all and getting all ready to start. Then where are we? Maybe end of the month, which will be the end of July. We might make some noise. Don't know if it'll be a big noise. But yeah, and end of July, start of August, we should start making a little bit of noise with this thing. Exciting times, it really is. We've still got a bunch of stupid things to do. We need to put the front end back on, make the dash fit to the mudguard, and put all our air ductings and things like that. There's still a ton of work to do, but we're getting there. And if we can get power to this thing and see some dash lights and make some even a little bit of noise, it's exciting. So, I'll catch you next week.